What happens if you get the wrong starter Pokemon in Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee? When you go to get your starter from Professor Oak's lab, there are 3 Pokeballs on the table, so I always wondered how the game would react if you got a different starter Pokemon instead of your normal Pikachu or Eevee. So today, I'll be modifying my Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu version to allow me to get a different starter Pokemon. Instead of Pikachu, I'll be getting Mewtwo. But also after that, I'm gonna see what happens if I try to get Eevee in my Pikachu version. Are you ready? This is gonna be a weird one. Okay, here we go, and Mewtwo! How crazy would this be if the first Pokemon that you encountered in your Pokemon journey was a Mewtwo? Professor Oak saying, my, I surely wouldn't have expected a Mewtwo to appear around here. You know what, I wouldn't have either, it's not Cerulean Cave. Why is Mewtwo here? But anyway, let's see what happens when we try to catch Mewtwo as our starter and how the game reacts. So it looks like Mewtwo's head is totally missing. It doesn't know what to do. When you change your starter Pokemon, since it's only supposed to be Eevee or Pikachu, the game is only expecting it to be like in the center. Since Mewtwo's really tall, it's just so confused on how to display it that its head is just totally cut off. And like usual, the ring is going through Mewtwo's legs and it looks so weird. It's like we're staring at Mewtwo's crotch right now. Alright, I'm getting uncomfortable. Let's catch this thing. Oh, I don't need to see the tutorial. Let's do it. Boom! Go! Great throw. Went right through Mewtwo. Let's catch him. 2, 3, 4. Imagine if catching Mewtwo was this easy with Pokeballs. We are so lucky that you're guaranteed to catch your starter right away, because I can imagine us easily running out of all our Pokeballs here and just not getting a starter because Mewtwo is pretty hard to catch normally. You know what, I feel so bad for my rival right now because he has to get a regular Pokemon. In this game, since I'm playing Let's Go Pikachu, he has to get an Eevee. My starter is a Mewtwo. How unfair would that be? If I was starting off my Pokemon journey and my rival just got a Mewtwo, I would just go back home, I'd fall back asleep and think I'm dreaming and try again the next day. Alright, so let's go ahead. We got ourselves the Mewtwo, Pikachu, Pika. So it still says Pikachu became your Pokemon. It looks like even if you change your starter, nothing is going to change that text. The game is only used to saying Pikachu and Eevee. But when we open up this screen, it says, would you like to give Mewtwo a nickname? Let's give him a nickname. Let's name him after one of my favorite Super Smash Bros. Players, Mewtwo King. Let's give him M2K. That'll be Mewtwo's name over here. Alright, and if we open up the Pokédex, boom! Let's see. Yes, it is in the Pokédex. Sometimes the Pokemon just don't show up, but we have Mewtwo's Pokédex entry. That's kind of funny. Our first Pokemon in the Pokédex is Mewtwo, out of all things. Now, let's try checking out the party. Usually when I change the starter, if you check the party, the game crashes. So I saved just so I don't have to redo everything, and I'm assuming the game's gonna crash. So let's open it up, and yep! I don't hear any music, game crashed. Alright, now it's time for our first rival battle. I think that's gonna be pretty interesting. Because like I said before, my rival's still just gonna have a boring old Eevee. Me, on the other hand, I started off with a pretty ridiculous Pokemon. So come on out, my good old starter, Mewtwo. So it has Pikachu's moveset. So let's go ahead and use Thunder Shock on him. Let's go, Mewtwo King, use Thunder Shock! Boom, that does a pretty decent amount. Poor Eevee. And bye-bye, Eevee. Now, I'd really like to go farther, but unfortunately, before you leave Pallet Town after battling your rival, you have to talk to this lady, and after that, a cutscene starts where your partner Pokemon hops into your arms and it opens up the menu where you can play with them. But if you change your starter, the game doesn't know what to do when it wants to open up that cutscene, and it just crashes. So we're not going to go much farther than that. But instead, just because I wanted to see what it would look like, I hacked in a Mewtwo into a different save file, and I gave it some of Pikachu and Eevee's exclusive moves to see what it would look like when a Mewtwo uses them. So let's go ahead and try that out. First, I'm going to try having Mewtwo use Bouncy Bubble, Eevee's exclusive move. Let's do it. Alright, so it makes a little Eevee, but it didn't really look too crazy. Next, let's try out Buzzy Buzz, another one of Eevee's exclusive moves. And this one is actually one of my favorites, Splishy Splash, Pikachu's exclusive move, so let's do it. Mewtwo, get on your surfboard! Look at this, that's incredible. And finally, let's try out Floaty Fall, another one of Pikachu's moves. This one's great because it gets little balloons. Look at him. That looks so weird. That looks really weird because the balloons aren't even like big enough for Mewtwo. It just looks silly when you attach those balloons to him. Alright, I think we covered everything with Mewtwo, so that's gonna wrap that part up. So we saw that the game really doesn't like it if you try to change your starter into something that's not a starter Pokemon like Mewtwo. So I decided I'm gonna try changing it into something that is a starter Pokemon. So once again, I'm playing my Let's Go Pikachu game, but this time, instead of making it a random Pokemon, I tried making the starter Pokemon into a starter Eevee. So it's still gonna show the Pikachu running around in the little intro over here, but let's see what happens when we get into this battle with the starter Eevee. I feel like this is gonna be a little bit more normal. So there it is, starter Eevee in my Pikachu version. So what I'm curious to see is the little red circle. Is that gonna look weird on this guy? Or the green circle? Okay, so yeah, no, that actually works normally. That makes sense because the starter Eevee actually is programmed to have this cutscene work with it, unlike with Mewtwo where the game's just trying to figure out what am I supposed to do here? Let's just show its body. So even though I'm playing Let's Go Pikachu right now and my normal starter is supposed to be a Pikachu, it looks very, very normal when I hack the starter Eevee into this game. Ooh, so this is really interesting. So I just got my starter in Let's Go Pikachu and it's showing the Eevee actually following me around. That has not happened before with any Pokemon that I've tried modifying. So this is really interesting. I'm wondering, is it going to work? Now, after I get the Pokedex and everything, I want to see, can I actually open up the menu? Because this might be the first and only Pokemon that actually lets me look at it and play the game normally. I'm very, very curious. Come on, Professor Oak, talk faster. Alright, guys, so what do you think? Can we open up the party and check out Eevee? Yes or no? 3, 2, 1. Alright. Yes! Whoa! That's crazy! Oh my gosh! Wow! So if we hack in, and look at it, it has Pikachu's moves and everything, Thundershock, Growl, and Tail Whip, but we could actually play the game if we change the starter to the starter Eevee. We can't change it to the regular Eevee. I had to be very careful with everything and make sure that I actually modified the game to choose the starter Eevee instead of the regular Eevee, but we can actually use the starter Eevee and the game doesn't crash. So what I'm wondering now is, can we get through that cutscene that usually crashes the game? This is absolutely crazy. After doing that whole Mewtwo experiment, I did not have much hope for like the whole Eevee thing. I thought it was going to have the same result. But again, since Eevee is programmed to be a starter Pokemon, and since Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee are such similar games, they only changed a few files, I guess this Let's Go Pikachu game has enough of the Let's Go Eevee files that it still lets you open up the menu, it still lets you check out everything, and it still shows Eevee following you around in the overworld. So I'm super curious. A, are we going to be able to pass that cutscene? And B, is it going to put Eevee on my shoulder, or is it going to put Pikachu on my shoulder? We're about to find out. This is going to be crazy. And look, again, the cutscenes are still showing Pikachu because I'm playing Let's Go Pikachu. This is so confusing. I am so confused. Alright, Yolanda, it's time to battle. Now, this is going to be an interesting battle because they're sending out Eevee, and I'm going to send out Eevee, but the difference is my Eevee is going to be more of an electrical Eevee. It's going to be kind of like a Jolteon. Wait a second. Wait, what is going on here? Wait a second. Did that just throw out a Pikachu? Wait, I'm so confused. Do I have an Eevee or do I have a Pikachu? Because the game is showing me a Pikachu right now, but I have an Eevee. Look, I'm gonna go in the menu again. Look, this is Eevee. This is my starter Eevee. It knows the Pikachu moves and everything, but the game just threw a Pikachu off of my shoulder. What? I'm assuming this is happening because the game recognizes that my Eevee is a starter Pokemon, and since this is Let's Go Pikachu, it's going to use the Pikachu model because, you know, that's the one that it normally displays in this game. But I have an Eevee. You know what? I'm so confused and I'm done with this battle, so Eevee, use your ultimate move, Thundershock Explosion of Doom! After that battle, the game is showing me Pikachu on my shoulder. Before I had Eevee following me around, now it's just showing Pikachu, and I can't make it walk. I can't make it walk and follow me around or anything. So that's weird. In the beginning cutscenes, I still have Eevee following me around, but now it's a Pikachu. If you're confused like I am, I totally understand it, because I don't even think the game knows what's going on. Now this is the dreaded cutscene. And look, she's still referring to it as Eevee. But this is the dreaded cutscene. Is the game going to crash? It always crashes here when I modify my starter. What's gonna happen? Please don't crash. Oh, okay. We can get through it. Eevee looks very happy. Let's play with it a little bit. Let's give it some love. Alright, so it's still making the Pikachu sounds and everything. but the game still refers to it as Eevee. Play with Eevee has been added to the menu. But the good news is, even though the game is very confused, it seems like I could get past this area, so if I really wanted to, I could play this whole game with Eevee as my starter instead of Pikachu. I'm not going to do that though, because I think I would get a headache trying to figure out what's going on. Alright, so I want to see how the game reacts if I send out a different Pokemon and then try switching into my starter Eevee over here. Is it still going to send Pikachu off my shoulder and make that look like it's Eevee? Let's see, is that going to happen? Wait a second, did that thing just say Eevee? Alright, I'm so confused, the game's confused, but we now know that it does work. If you change your starter Pokemon into another starter Pokemon, the game will still work, although sometimes it thinks it's an Eevee, and sometimes it thinks it's a Pikachu. Since I'm playing Let's Go Pikachu, it shows Pikachu in all the cutscenes and everything, but it's still functionally an Eevee, it learns all the Eevee moves and everything, and the game actually lets us leave Pallet Town. So if you change your starter to anything that's not a starter, the game crashes. If you change it to an Eevee, it gets pretty confused, but it still works. I guess the moral of the story here is that the game does not want you to change the starter Pokemon, but if you do, some pretty weird and interesting stuff can happen. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more content just like this, and guys, I'll be seeing you in the next one.